Welcome to the Soft Issues podcast. On this episode, Matt and I talk about over-speccing your bike and why high-end doesn't always equate to better.
Honestly, I was just banging Chippy in Selby when we were kids, called Lonsdale's, right? It was the grimmest thing ever. They used to do it in like newspaper, but like well after that became illegal.
Oh wow!
Or unhygienic.
Oh, as in like before they started using.
Before food hygiene.
Hygiene
well
standards.
After food hygiene became a thing. But honestly, this
did they
thing
have
was
to have
decadent.
Did they have to have the little food hygiene agency thing with like the one?
Don't even remember
The
that
one
being
out
in the
of
window,
5.
to be honest.
And it's like, I've seen a place like that. I was
No.
like, I walked past a place. I was like, but why would you put that in the window?
But
If
honestly,
that was your rating.
kid you not, right? There was 2 Chippies in my town growing up. Like one was Lonsdale's, which was like if you knew, you knew. You went to Lonsdale's, and that was right at the train crossing, like at the bottom of my road where I lived. So that's where you went.
Right.
And the other one was across town. It was like a posh one called Mr. C's, and Mr. C's always used to win like best chippy in Selby. But there was like absolute outrage because it was like, you know, the chips were like soggy. It was like batter was horrible. It wasn't in newspaper. It was in these like styrofoam boxes.
Yeah.
And they always used to win like best chippy, but it was an absolute uproar, outrage because it was shocking.
Who were the judges? Then you get a load of
Who were the judges? I reckon they paid someone at the Selby Times off.
Oh, okay,
Crooked. I reckon. Mr. C.
Unless the judges are like 3 Jabba the Hutts.
Well, if they were 3 Jabba the Hutts, they'd have gone to Lonsdale's because that's where they know it was at.
Right, okay.
Oh, it's tricky though when there's only 2 competitors.
But back then, you get fish chips, mushy peas, canned pop for less than a £5. Tell you, mate, austerity. Can't get that now, can you?
You can't get the can of pop for less
That's
than
true.
Mate,
£1.
you don't
Robbery, that.
Broadway market and you're having lobster tail and chips for like 20 quid.
I guess
If
it's
you're
still
lucky.
technically fish and chips, isn't it? Shellfish and chips. You tell it's been a while since we've done one of these.
Oh yeah, what do we talk about normally?
I don't know.
We were going to talk about
Nothing useful.
We're going to talk about expensive, inappropriate.
Well, I think what we were going to talk about is it's the 50th anniversary of Dura Arce,
Really,
Shimano's high-end top-tier group set.
the top tier group set that nobody should be using on a
That
motorbike.
nobody should be using, full stop.
Basically, yeah.
It was launched in 1973.
19... That
50 years ago.
that's crazy.
It's terrifying, that's what that is.
Insane.
I'm nowhere near 50, but that is terrifying.
I'm not so much the amount of time, just the fact that this high end stuff has been around for so long. And the ironic thing is, you can probably still find 50-year-old Dura-Ace in one piece.
Probably works better than 9200.
Yeah, I was going to say, you probably won't be able to find the latest Dura-Ace in 50 years' time, because they'll all have been melted down after the recall. So, or even 10
Well,
years.
it's 9100 that's been recalled. 9100 and 8000 series, Ultegra.
I thought it was the
Dura-Ace.
previous generations as well.
And 68s as well.
I think it was a 68 and then
68 and 8000. Or
It's a bit
9000.
late for that, isn't it?
well, this is going back 11 years.
It's true. Actually, that 9000 was the prettiest Dura-Ace. I will say that.
It's only now just a little bit starting to look a bit.
That's because we've got used to the
We've gotten used to
boxy
the black sort of-
Transformers stuff.
Yeah.
Chrome. We all know 7800 was the best performing. 9000 or 9001 is the best looking. But no one should be riding it.
Yeah, I know too many
Why
people
shouldn't
who
people be
have it.
riding it, Ev? You're the resident mechanic here.
Because it's not designed to be ridden by people who are who weigh more than 69 kilos.
It's quite a specific number.
Happens to also be how much I weigh. So
You
No,
have
it's
you
just-
have 105.
I've got 105 on that. No, actually I don't anymore.
Group set of the people.
Oh, I have got some shifters actually. I've got Ultegra on my other bike, but they're pretty much the same thing to all intents and purposes, apart from a bit of weight. But yeah, why are people commuting on like the top end group sets that are designed for professionals? They're designed for racing. They're not designed for being ridden through the winter.
You've got to win the commute, mate.
You've got to win the commute. All those Strava segments
I mean,
from lights to lights.
if you
All
could,
200 yards of it.
Yeah.
if you're privileged enough to drive your Porsche to work, would you not drive your Porsche to work?
Well, exactly. You shouldn't be driving a
Depends
Porsche to
which
work.
one you have.
Yeah.
You got a 911, yeah, crack on. You got a Boxster, your life probably didn't turn out quite as you'd hoped, did it?
So is the Boxster like tram red? And
Well, no,
911.
because that's even more expensive than Dura-Ace, isn't it?
That's true.
Well, now it is,
SRAM is
all electronic.
obscenely expensive.
considering the very, very poor quality of its build
Considering
construction.
that, yeah, they still don't know how to make a front derailleur.
It's well, they won't need to soon. They've been pushing the one by thing for a long time.
True.
Yeah, I find SRAM stuff is really sort of cheaply made, plasticky, which is kind of surprising. That it's the Shimano stuff.
It's getting recalled, yeah.
Yeah.
Aussie mate, 105, that's where it's at.
Yeah, exactly. No one's breaking that.
Now it's gone 12 speed, mechanical.
Yeah, they've finally done
They're
that.
finally doing it. I've been banging this drum for a while.
Do you reckon they did that because of your emails?
Absolutely. I mean, don't they know who I think I am?
Okay. We've received an email from Matt in London.
Dear points of view.
I had to explain that to Jen
Oh, is it?
when you did that with her. She was like, "Oh, I don't get that reference." I was like, "Right." Anyway, so you know the weakest link, and then just went from there. Who presented points of view originally before? And I've forgotten her name.
Anne Robinson.
Anne Robertson. Before Anne Robinson.
I don't
Wasn't
know.
it somebody else that she?
Someone really boring.
Yeah, and most people back then were quite boring.
I mean, yeah, if you take the time on a Sunday afternoon to write a letter into, it was a letter back then, you got to send an email.
Yeah, it kind of went. It kind of.
It's not really a thing anymore.
Kind
is
of
it?
lost its way when everyone switched to email.
Yeah.
I think because it's not the same quality of writing.
It was kind of like Crime Stoppers. That kind of lost its way a little bit as well. Yeah.
We've just received a text from Dave in Buxton. It says, "Help!" Exclamation point.
It's happening right now.
But yeah, just generally, people are riding completely inappropriate stuff.
But it's tools to do a
it's-
job, right?
It's tools to do a job, but it's the upsell, it's the marketing. Here we go. I'm back to ranting about the bike industry, right? They just want to sell you. They just want your money. They're not interested in, they don't care about aero. They don't care about efficiency. They don't care about any of these things. Everything is just marketed to try and make people want the most expensive thing.
Yeah, but on a practical level, right? So you have this top end group set that you're using daily on your, commuter bike, whatever. Yeah, you've got a nice bike, you want to ride it. Cool, totally get that. And you're wondering why it's always going out of whack. Why is it never kind of functioning, kind of like smooth, crisp shifting? Like it's like they sell you, like they sell you the dream. Like why is it not working as it should? Because it's not designed to be used this much, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing.
You've
As the
worn it out.
tolerances get finer, as you get more gears, you go from 10 speed, which no one needs more than 10 gears, by the way, 11 speed, 12 speed. Tolerances get finer, things wear more quickly,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Cassettes wear, chains wear, chain rings, all this kind of stuff. So you have to constantly fettle to keep it running smooth.
Yeah.
It's like you were saying before, it's like driving your Ferrari to work through Camden.
Yeah.
It's like speed bumps every 100 yards. And it's like, yeah, you can do it, but just because you can, it doesn't necessarily mean you should.
Yeah. Or if you can, you can and you are going to, don't expect it to be cheap when you take the thing for a service, because they're going to be like, well, you've kind of like, you torn the bottom out of your Ferrari, mate. This is going to cost you basically the cost of a new Ferrari, because you have totaled your car by not slowing down for speed bumps. Why haven't you been slowing down for speed bumps then?
So that's the thing, right? So, you ride, I don't know, say 5,000 kilometres, 7,000 kilometres in a year. That's decent, I would say. I mean, I don't know what's decent, but like, you go to service time, how much is a Dura-Ace chain and cassette? That's bare minimum,
That's
right?
exactly it. It's like, and the same people who've spent, well, this is just experience from being a mechanic, the same people who've spent like close to 10 grand on a bike will balk at you when you tell them how much the chain costs and that they need a new chain. And they're like, oh, how much? Well, what do you mean how much? Did you say that when you bought the bike? Oh no, you couldn't because you were on a website and you were just like, oh, well, I'm going to pay for it on hire purchase or whatever, like installments, or, you know, you just want this thing. And then suddenly they realise, no, you know, there is a reason it's expensive because all the component parts, they're all quite expensive. And when you buy them not in a package, when you buy them individually,
it gets more expensive.
Even more, yeah.
Yeah.
So do you see everyone slowly downgrading everything?
Yeah, like, you know, like you get your Dura set up and then the next chain is KMC or something, right? Yeah. And then the next chain is
Ultegra
like,
cassette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, even pro teams were using. I mean, I think they've changed it now, but there was a time a couple of years ago, they didn't do Dura Ace cassettes in big enough sprockets.
Yeah,
so
28 was as big as you
28 was as big, so if you wanted 30 or 32, yeah, you wanted 30 or 32, you had to get Ultegra, or 105 or something like that, or something else. And you know, they mix and match. The pros mix and match.
Yeah, all the pro training bikes, they don't use Dura Ace.
No, of course not. I mean, the thing is that the training tyres used to be a thing, right? They would never, because they would ride tubs in races. So, you know, when they would ride clinchers during training times, and they would also ride crappier tyres. They wouldn't ride the best tyres. But we've got people commuting on courses.
I'm wondering why they're getting
do you really see people like banging around Dura Ace?
And then they'll complain that you know, oh, I've got puncture. I'm like, yeah, I know, because your tyres are made of paper. Like, oh, okay, all right, fair enough. If they see me, they're going to be like, well, you've got courses, and you've got latex tubes, and you've got this, and you've got rotor, and you've got all this like high stuff. Yeah, but I'm not commuting on that bike. I just go to the park in the morning and train, and then I go home and don't take it out in the rain. And don't take it out in the cold winter. I clean it often, and you
can fix it.
I can fix it, yeah. Having said that, all of this, did discover the other day that I finally need new chain rings and a cassette. But you know what? I've got 7 years out of that.
7 years?
Cassette and chain ring.
It's amazing what happens if you don't cross chain, isn't it?
I do. I think I do actually, quite a lot. I do cross chain quite a lot.
Sacrilege.
I know, but like I can't be asked to go in the small ring. Just
be the change you want to see, Ev.
I might as well just get one bike.
Have you just stayed in like one sprocket for every year that's gone by?
No, what is really weird is that I discovered that it was the like 11 until like the smallest sprockets, the hardest gears on the cassette. It was like the 11 and 12 that were like being a bit like messy. Like I put a new chain on it, you know, you put a new chain on old stuff, and it's like that's when you figure out that okay, I need a new cassette as well. And it was those two, and I don't use those. I don't remember ever using those. I'm always in the big ones. Yeah. But yeah, finally, the end of an era.
They just wear out quicker, the smaller ones, don't they?
Yeah.
My pro tip, right? It was a very turbulent time in my life, but I decided to treat myself to a Dura Ace group set. I've only ever had one. It was mechanical. It was a 9000 one. It was amazing.
That's why you're waxing lyrical about 9000. Oh, that was the best looking.
It was. It was on my time. It was on my time trial bike. It was amazing, and I was running like 55/42 chain rings at the front. This is when I could actually ride a bike. But my pro tip, like training through the winter on that stuff, always train on the turbo in the small ring at the front, and just crank the erg up, because it's much cheaper to replace your small ring than it is the big rig.
Yeah.
And hellfire, Dura Ace chain rings are expensive.
Yeah. You know what? Like a 105 chain ring, the big chain ring is like 80 quid now.
Yeah.
80 quid?
Yeah,
shocking.
Yeah. Retail, like full retail, is like 80 quid. The small is like 15, 20 quid.
So why would you not ride in the small ring?
Because I ride rotor with FSA rings. It doesn't matter. They cost nothing. That's probably what I'm going to replace them with.
All right, shot down the argument there.
Yeah.
Ev just chisels out his own chain.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just stamp them out.
Yeah.
With a hammer and an open flame. But yeah, it's like what was I looking at the other day? Oh, I was looking at the prices, and the prices of everything's like Dura Ace is now electronic, right? Ultegra is electronic. You
can't get mechanical.
You can't get mechanical anymore, right? All
in the 9200 series.
And the prices are insane. And I'm looking at them, and you look at shifters and stuff like that, and I'm like, this should be cheaper. This should be much cheaper, because the engineering that goes into those ratchets in the shifters is like, have you ever taken one of those things apart?
Well, they don't have ratchets anymore, do they? It's a cable port.
Yeah, no, exactly. But no, but
but
like in ratchet,
beforehand.
in terms of like beforehand,
fine.
the actual mechanism to change gear, it's like, it's a thing of beauty. It's like, well, when it's not gunked up and full of crap, but when it's new, it's like, that's engineering. That's like amazing what they did with that. And then now they get rid of all of that, and it's just a couple of switches, which is the cheapest thing in the world.
Well, it's like 3D printed saddles.
Yeah, right.
You want to get onto overpriced stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like 3D printing stuff is some of the cheapest way to manufacture things, and yet your minimum 300 quid for a 3D printed saddle. It's bonkers.
I mean, essentially the same thing could be said with carbon bikes. Okay, there's a certain level of skill that goes into putting the thing together and research and development to make sure that you're doing it right, but it's the raw materials are way cheaper. Like, have you seen how they manufacture steel tubes?
Yeah.
That's not easy.
Yeah, it's just selling people the dreams. I mean, think about how much your iPhone costs, really, to manufacture, to the raw materials to build it all and so on. It doesn't cost anywhere near what it retails for, but the phone is indispensable.
But it's where do you justify the cost? I was talking about this with a mate of mine who's a suit tailor, and he told me, like, we're talking about markups on stuff, and I'm talking about like wheels and like wheel building and stuff like that, and like the markup's relatively small because there's a perception how much people are prepared to pay for something, right? And then and the markups that they're making in like the clothing industry, especially the like luxury brands and stuff, the markups are insane. But there's obviously like years and years of experience in both of those things. There's years of experience that have gone into getting to that level where you know what to do to create a good product. Whereas big industry, so we're talking like Apple, big bike manufacturers and stuff like that. At what point do you have to kind of say, well, look, all that research and development has been done. We already have the templates for all of this. We're not actually, in creating this new product, we're not actually putting that much work in. So that's like at some point prices you'd think they would come down, but they're not, they're going up.
But that's how capitalism works.
Oh my God.
Isn't it?
I knew I was onto something.
Like,
That's it, yeah.
at its basic level,
Yeah.
like the idea with any business is that you put the hard work in. Well, you have to put the hard work in initially to get to the point, and then there's like a decline in effort for an increase in return. That's the dream, right? That is literally the American dream,
But
or the capitalist dream.
Is that the way we want the bike industry to be going?
Well, fortunately, we don't have any control over it.
No, we don't. We can just rant about it.
Yeah, but that's how it is, isn't it? It's like, how much does Dura-Ace cost now? Like for a group set, 3.5 grand, 4K?
I think it's like 2.5 or 3. I think it's 3.
3. All right, so compared to Campag,
Oh yeah, but again, that's
it's very, very cheap.
It's like that's the difference between going to McDonald's or like Gourmet Burger Kitchen or something. It's like you expect.
Is that a good example?
Of course it's not. Well, actually, no. Maybe it is a good example because they're both cheaply made.
It's true.
They're both not worth the money that you'd necessarily. Well, no. I mean, it's food. I suppose is a bit different, but in the sense that the price discrepancy between the two, right? They probably shouldn't really be different, but one is a much smaller company. It's run by people that are set in their ways, and it's just there's a brand identity that goes along with it. Like, so you definitely are paying for the name if you buy.
Well, you don't buy a
Campag,
Campag for the function, do you?
No, you definitely don't buy a Campag.
Let's
I
face
mean,
it.
what was it? The new group sets, £5,000.
Yeah.
Five and bits, yeah.
That's but that is they're selling to a market where people have insane amounts of disposable income, and they want to pay more.
Well, you're buying the lifestyle.
They're buying the
you're
lifestyle.
selling the
It's
lifestyle.
like you don't buy, if you've got, let's say you're a billionaire, you're going to buy a house that's worth hundreds of millions, because why wouldn't you? You've got so much, you can afford it and you want to show off. You're not a billionaire if you're not a show off.
I have a theory on this though, right? There's different levels of wealth, right? Not that I know about this because I'm skint, but there's like a tipping point where you're like, where rich turns into wealthy.
Yeah.
Right. And I think once you reach that tipping point, it's like you don't really, you just buy stuff that's functional.
You don't, yeah. True. You don't.
So you see people who are riding like, these bikes that are functional, like, it's like Ultegra mechanical, whatever it is. You're not rich in the fact that you need to be aspirational to be kind of wealthy, that sort of thing. Does that make sense?
You're the Bill Gates syndrome. You're walking around in a jumper and a pair of slacks.
Yeah, exactly.
You can afford Gucci
Whatever
or
you
whatever.
want.
I don't know what brand is expensive these days, but you can afford all that, but you don't need to. You don't need to show off.
But this is this. Like most people should just be riding 105.
Yeah.
Because it's the best group set.
Absolutely.
But it's in
Hands
terms of
down.
like function, longevity, ease of like livability, and yeah, I think people would be absolutely fine. It's just because you've had a taste of this stuff. It's like, once you go, like, have you ever had a bike with electric shifting on it?
I haven't owned one, but I've ridden lots of them.
Yeah, I've never owned a bike with electric shifting on it because I'd be terrified that I wouldn't be able to go back because it'd be so good.
See, that's interesting.
You know what I mean?
That's interesting.
Like Di2 works faster than my brain, and there's something a bit uneasy about that.
I don't think it's that quick, not compared to mechanical. But it depends how you set it up. But also, I don't want to charge my bike. That's it. That's all I need to say. I don't want to charge my bike. I charge enough stuff. I charge my phone. I charge my Garmin. I can't remember what else I charge. I charge myself. I have a coffee in a while. I'm up to like 4 coffees. I have to go. I have to. For me, I used to be a one coffee a day person. Then I went to 2, and then I got when you get to 3, that's dangerous territory. And then if you're at 4, I'm like it's evening, and I think I need a coffee. Feeling a bit groggy.
Di2 is the perfect group set for winter bikes, though?
What, because it's electronic?
Electronic. There's no wires to get gunked up. There's no mechanical.
Yeah, but what happens here in the winter? Rains. We were talking about this before, like water and electric.
What did you say? The human body is.
Well, the human body is like 70% water, and also like basically your electricity. Those two things do not go together. Like, you know what I mean? Where's the last place you want to be in a lightning storm? On a boat. Yeah.
Surely in the water is the
In
last
the
place.
water, yeah. It was good
On
as.
a sinking boat.
Sinking boat, yeah.
Can you imagine if when the Titanic sank there'd have been a lightning storm at the same time? I just thought they could have just slightly dramatised the movie a little bit more if they'd had a thunderstorm going on at the same time.
It's an opportunity there.
Opportunity lost.
Yeah.
Oh well.
But yeah, it's just.
But yeah, why would you have Di2 on your winter bike? Well, AM1 now, the winter bike is dead. No one has a winter bike.
I know, it's a purely theoretical question.
Like, no one has a blue Ribble. No one has a Kinesis with mud guards on it anymore. Like,
They do. I still see them. I still see the Ribbles. And I see the Kinesis every now and again. But they're like the ones that guy bought in 2015. Or 2013.
That recent.
Maybe 2010. I don't know.
Exactly.
And they're still going through the bike shop. They're still coming in. They're still out of alignment. They're still.
But there's something quite, I don't know, like maybe I'm being a nostalgic old git, but there's something quite nice about like putting your winter bike away and getting your summer bike out.
It's like putting your winter coat away.
Yeah.
And getting your linen suit or whatever it is that people do. I don't know. It's like okay, for a lot of people it's like they can't, we live in England. Most people don't have houses that can house lots of bikes.
Yeah, it's
like
true.
some people do. The people that are buying 10 grand bikes probably do, or maybe they don't. A lot of people are just like, I just want one bike. That compromise, that kind of, I just want this one bike to do it all. it's got to be a road bike, but it has to have slightly slacker endurance geometry, and it has to have big tyre clearance, because obviously I might want to put 50mm tyres, and I'm like, shut up, just get 2 bikes, idiot.
It's basically what I want. Race geometry with 50mm tyres.
But it's like that's like people are doing that. Like these drop bar bikes with like massive tyres. I'm like,
all for that.
But you don't. It's like just.
You basically just described what I would build.
I want to see you on one.
If I was let loose.
I want to see you on one, because I don't know. Different bikes for different rides. For me, it's always been like, if I want to go on the road, I ride a road bike. If I want to go off-road, I ride an off-road bike. If I want to go actually off-road, I ride a mountain bike.
Yeah.
You know?
I just don't want to feel anything. I want to ride on the road, but I don't want to feel anything.
But if you could have only one bike, then would it be appropriate to put Dura Ace on it?
Well, if you also have a Porsche 911 or a Ferrari, and the only time you ride the bike is when you're, I don't know, going to Mallorca on a holiday or something like that.
Joe, I'll play devil's advocate for this. If you want one bike and you want the Dura Arce on it, and you're willing to pay that price of the maintenance cost and all that other stuff, crack on.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No problem with that.
Totally
Just
agree.
don't whine when it don't work.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but you made a really good point, because you were like, oh, but it's electronic, right? It always does the same thing. It always works the same. So isn't it the perfect winter bike? Is that's what you were getting at, right? But that's not how.
That's not how it works.
That's not how switches work.
Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of. You know,
I want it to work.
I have 4. I think I've got 4 Ultegra or Dura Ace Di2 shifters sitting on my kitchen table in pieces. Those are, you know, they don't. Yeah. They break easily. They don't
The other thing is, the system doesn't account for chain and cassette wear.
Yeah,
either.
exactly.
So, and not going to lie, not being funny, if you've got to index your gears using an app on your phone, sorry,
yeah, that can get in the bin.
Out.
No, yeah.
That can, you chug that
not
in
only Not only do you have to do that, but on the latest one, even though the shifters are supposed to be wireless, the whole system's semi-wireless, right? The shifters don't have any wires going to the battery in the seat post or in the down tube or whatever, which is kind of good, because that means you don't have to run wires from the shifters. You don't have to have a junction box there. But you still have to plug the bloody thing in to update the firmware and everything. So it's not what it claims to be, not fully, you know, completely wireless. And also, why? It's one button. It does one thing. Why do you need a firmware update? Why should it ever have an update? It's the same thing. It's that and all it's got to do is that my dad used to do model boats, right? And I used to have like a remote control car with all the servos and all the little things, right? Radio controlled. There was no software. There's no firmware updates. There's none of that rubbish. It's like, it's just electronic. Just work. It's just like one signal goes from one place to another. All it's got to do is one thing. It doesn't have to be clever, and it's not clever. But yeah, if you've got, it works perfectly when everything's brand new and clean, but when it's dirty, it doesn't know it's dirty.
When it's
doesn't
dirty,
know,
when
maybe
it's
I
worn,
should adjust.
whatever,
yeah, you know.
On firmware updates, just like fixes for things that didn't work properly in the first place, and they just needs to update it to make it actually work.
Yeah, but that, to me, that shows that somebody was not very good programmer in the first place. Because it's pretty simple. It's actually really simple.
Freaking button.
There's nothing. It's like, honestly, anybody could learn it in 2 hours. The coding that it takes to make that work, because there's not much going on. But you know, dress it up like Steve Jobs, dress it up in the magic and just call it something else, and you know, you make up all these words and.
I mean, the fact that you can go to Primark and buy a T-shirt for like £2, and then you go across the road in Westfield, go to the Armani shop and buy a T-shirt for £100. I mean, the fact that that exists. Basically,
the fact that you know that there's an Armani shop in Westfield worries me. If that was true, if they're actually, if you can go to Westfield and buy an Armani T-shirt for £100, there's something seriously wrong with this country.
I mean, I freaking grew up in Hong Kong, didn't I? It's just like, this is like the entire capitalist world just like pouring into like a tiny country that's smaller than London, and
but that's kind of like that's kind of like welcome to Hong Kong, capitalism done right. Yeah. We're going to do it properly.
At least you don't have an option in Hong Kong.
Yeah,
so everything's expensive.
Yeah.
No, well, yeah. Or you go to the street market and buy all the knockoffs for for like 50p.
Yeah, but they're two very separate places, aren't they? It's not like all under one roof where you can buy a £2 t-shirt and a £200 t-shirt.
Yeah, but you can still choose, and there's definitely pleasure in doing both. But like, there's. Actually, the interesting thing about that is that the kind of super high end fuels the kind of knockoff like street market. So people want the vision, the dream, but they don't want to pay for it, so they get the knockoff.
So devil's advocate here then, talking about high end group sets. Plus point of all this high end expensive stuff trickles down. So, Tiagra, which is probably about where my level of dedication is at. Like, the newest iteration of 10-speed Tiagra is probably as good as Dura-Ace was 20 years ago.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely will be. I'm sure it is.
So, without this super high-end stuff, kind of like, I don't really use this term, but like, seeing what's pushing boundaries, seeing what's possible, all that dross. Like, you get the trickle down.
So essentially what you're saying is that if you buy Dura-Ace, you're a dutiful pioneer.
You're a dutiful pioneer in making Tiagra in 20
You're
years'
doing
time
everyone else
better.
a favour.
Yeah, in a way, you are. In a way, you are. Like, it's perverse to think about, but yeah, you are.
You're taking a hit for the team.
You're taking one for the team, the wider cycling community.
By buying it, you're not encouraging them to make the cheaper stuff better. It's the fact that people are buying the cheaper stuff that makes them realise, ooh, we've already got this. Like, basically, you made the mould, right? You already made the mould. All you have to do is inject a cheaper plastic into that mould.
But I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's like that. It's like what you're saying about the, you can go to like the Armani store, you can go to the street market. Yeah. It's choice.
Yeah.
And yeah, like choice is ultimately, we all need choice. We say this every day in the bike fit studio, don't we? It's just all about choice. So, if you want a winter bike with Tiagra, crack on, because that is going to be the perfect tool for that job.
Yeah.
If you want to ride your air road with Dura-Ace all over it in the winter, yeah, crack on too. But just be prepared for a bit more maintenance than what's going to happen. Yeah.
And that's the thing. There's still a bit of disparity between you spent this much money on this thing. What did you think it was going to be cheap to service it?
Or do you think it's going to run forever?
Yeah,
it's not going to run forever.
There's definitely that particularly in the bike industry and amongst bike customers, that where people think something is more expensive, therefore it should last longer. I'm like, no.
It's the other way.
The opposite. The opposite. You're buying lingerie, right? It's like lingerie is more expensive than a men's pair of underpants. Yet it's like a fraction of the fucking amount of material.
Well, it's like bikes, isn't it? The more you pay, the less you get.
The less you get. Yeah, you want a light bike, you have to pay tons. I was like, no, I want a heavy bike. Give me more material.
Yeah.
Well, what's our favourite phrase everyone comes in with to the bike fit studio? Oh, I bought it because it was a cracking deal.
It's only a bargain if you'd have bought it anywhere.
Stop with the deals.
Yeah. Sorry, doesn't fit you though. So,
yeah.
Wasn't really a good deal. But then it's a great deal until you have to change everything. And
well, you can get, you can buy a pretty luxury car for way less than you would think, right? Especially if it's like a couple of years old or something like that. You can get yourself a top end Mercedes or whatever, I don't know, name a brand, but just because you can get it for that money, like let's say like a brand new whatever Ford Focus or something is like, let's say it's like 16 grand. when it's brand new. Well, you know, you wait 3 years and you buy a top-end Mercedes and it's 16 grand, but the servicing on that Mercedes is going to be
it's going to be up, it's going to be up on the ramps every weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, basically.
Like, it's the ongoing maintenance cost, isn't it? It's the cost
you
of
know,
ownership.
If you race a thoroughbred racehorse, that thing is not going to pull a cart, and it's not going to. You're not going to put panniers on it. Certainly not going to put panniers on it.
Not going to take it down the mine, are you?
No, and it's not going to last very long if you were to ride it every day. It's a thoroughbred. It's supposed to be it's just a racehorse, and it's got to be cared for a certain way, you know.
It's the cost of ownership. Yeah. That's essentially what we're saying.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
What is the cost of owning this product? And is that worth the return of what you're going to get? Usually, no.
No, absolutely not.
Well,
Like
I don't know. Maybe for all those who bought the first Dura-Ace group set and never actually used it and kept it in a fresh box, and now they're going to sell
the
it.
1973 NOS Dura-Ace.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Someone's going to...
So there will be one out there.
Yeah.
We should go on eBay and have a look, actually.
But I think what we can conclude from this is that we need Dura-Ace. We do. But we don't need it in the way we think we need it.
Yeah, I suppose I can get on board with that.
You know what I mean?
Well, see, we've limited it because of the whole recall thing and the 50th anniversary. We've kind of limited the conversation to Shimano. There are...
Don't get me started.
there are some alternatives.
I'm very much Team Shimano.
Oh yeah, no, me too. Because we've got another 10. It's just, the alternatives are worse. Considerably worse. I think anyone who really knows about them. I mean, okay, go on, Way, with your face. Name something that's better.
I don't know. I was going to talk about going on AliExpress and like.
Okay. There's Microshift have got fully mechanical 11-speed group set out, and I'd love to try that out actually.
I just don't understand why there's not more people making like more group sets out there. You know, SRAM have committed to like electronic.
Yeah,
Campag's dying.
The thing is, Campag is Campag. You know. Campag will always be there,
limping along.
It will always be limping along, and it will always have its customers. Yeah. SRAM is like, okay, we're going to do... SRAM is a bit like the, maybe not the Apple of the cycling industry, but it's kind of that disruptive influence in the bike industry where they're like, well, we're not going to do it like Shimano did it. We're going to do things differently. And like, you're only doing it differently because they'll sue you if you do it the same, right? So you have to do something different. But then they keep trying to put a square peg into a round hole. It's like there's a reason that it's been done this way for 100 years and it works really well. And the reason that we like Shimano is because they don't disrupt, they just refine. So that's why they've gotten to a point where now it's like, this works really well. This does, when it's set up properly, it works really, really well. And it does last, again, as long as you're not buying the top end stuff that's made of feathers, it's going to last.
I've had the same group set on my bike with the same cables for like 10 years.
It's like a watched clock.
I don't really ride that bike, but it still works.
Is it single speed?
It's a clothes horse at the moment.
Well, and
this has got a saddle on it this week.
It's got no seat clamp though.
Oh, right.
That's coming in the post.
You're going to get an envy.
My wife Abby, she's still riding Dura-Ace 7800.
78 is the best group set. It's 10 speed, external shifters. It's before it all went internal. It just works and it looks cool because it was chrome.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's absolutely
Case
flawless.
Closed.
Yeah. Everyone go out buy 7800 Dura-Ace. Well, if you can find it.
If you can find it.
Yeah.
Oh, there'll be some on Brick Lane. 100%.
It's just there's loads of other players coming in, and there's definitely going to be a bit more. There's going to be another major player, but it takes a lot for something that's actually quite simple. It does take a lot of testing.
But the thing is as well is that why would you put your effort into trying to make a group set when Shimano and SRAM to a certain extent they've just got it all covered?
Yeah.
Why would you bother?
Because you want to steal some market share. That's pretty much the only thing. It's like, why would you bother starting a
But
bike
cost
brand?
benefit analysis, like you're never going to get any sort of market share compared to.
Oh, you're thinking like a marketer, not like an engineer now. Like, you know, there's plenty of engineers out there who always want to build it better. You know, they can always think.
Yeah, but why?
You know, why Ingrid making like rear derailleurs and chain rings and crankshafts?
Yeah, but Ingrid measure their cranks in small, medium, and large.
Yeah, I know, but
Like, what is that?
but why make it like that? You know,
Why? Yeah,
make
why?
anything?
Don't work.
You have to measure them. Have you measured them? I think it's like 165, 170, and 175.
Five.
Which is ridiculous not having.
But
it.
why just not put the numbers on?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Doug,
Dare to be different, right?
Well, yeah, no, I take the point.
Like Matt Appleman, he makes like all the different crank sizes, and I mean, to be fair, I think his cranks are like the best cranks out there. Like,
He's not making a group set though, is he?
No, but like, you know, it's the start. That's how you, like, if you're a small manufacturer, then you know that's how you start.
But he is filling a void in the market.
Yeah.
There are not manufacturers making proportional crank lengths.
Yeah.
What's the smallest he does now?
100.
Well, he
100?
Yeah. I mean, well, he makes
comedy.
custom. He can make anything.
Oh, right, okay, so he
Anything
can
you
make
want.
anything.
But like, yeah, essentially goes from like 100 to 200.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Like it took 48 years for Shimano to make anything shorter than 165.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's the thing. Like he's filling a void.
But that's you
market.
guys' fault, isn't it? Really, because you didn't demand it. You need to demand it.
Wasn't alive.
But like, sure, like, you know, with the dying mechanical kind of scene, group sets. Like,
Is it though? Is it? I don't think it is. I think it's just Microsoft have already done it, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's just going to float to the top because people are still going to need that.
Yeah, but like, I'm sure someone can invent. I mean, why? I mean, before electronic happened, there was just constant iterations of like mechanical shifting. So you know, there's infinite ways of like kind of creating shifters and things like that.
Yeah.
So why not, you know, someone come along and create some other, I don't know, group set or dream, or, you know, market some other thought.
Well, Rota failed miserably with that Uno group set. That hydraulic.
Yeah.
Why would you do? I don't know why.
Why would you do that?
Why would you do hydraulic? It's just no. It's just well, I know why, because because you can do cable runs through frames without worrying about kinking cables and stuff like that. But again, then electronic was already a thing. It'd already been a thing for quite a few years. I don't know why they thought that would be a good idea to have fluid going through a.
Yeah, but it's quite a cool concept, though.
It's a cool concept, but again, it's unnecessary now, isn't it? Because electronics kind of blown them out of the water.
What was it? There was a patent came out, or an application for a patent for a 3-pulley. I can't remember what it was, but it was like a 3-pulley derailleur.
What, as in?
Like had 3
pulley wheels,
jockey wheels.
Oh,
on
right,
it.
okay. Why would you do that then?
Like
just to make the chain
another pivot
line.
point.
Right. What, for mountain bikes or something?
Don't know.
Sounds like
It
something.
was
that you-
Shimano.
Oh, really?
Is it?
Okay.
Oh, I thought mountain bikes are going towards that kind of centralised kind of derailleur system.
The indestructible rear derailleur that is actually very destructible.
Yeah. Oh, I had a bit of a trolling moment with somebody on Instagram the other day when they were commenting on a video where there was like a broken SRAM, like the new SRAM thing, and it was broken, and they were like, "No, it's supposed to break there. It's really cheap to replace that part." Well, yeah, but how about it don't break in the first place, and then you don't have to replace it after like 3 weeks or something.
The whole point was getting rid of the hanger.
Yeah, that was a snide thing that they did with that hanger. They tried to convince everyone that it was universal, and they even used the term universal derailleur hanger.
There you go.
Just so that they could come out, oh, by the way,
the
we don't need
disruptor.
it at all. Yeah, exactly. And that's the problem that I have with SRAM. So it's not because, I'm not saying that I would never ride a bike with SRAM. I've had the opportunity to ride pretty much all the group sets. I know that I prefer Shimano. It definitely works the best of all of them. But just the attitude that they have, being an American company, that just annoys me.
Or Tram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the things that they do to try to disrupt the market. Like, you're doing unnecessary stuff and you're charging way too much for it. It should not cost this much. You did not spend that much money on R&D because it don't work.
See, even that phrase, disrupting the market, that makes me a little bit sick in my mouth.
Yeah, exactly. It's like somebody
It's
coming along
making
and
me uncomfortable.
there's so many things. There's so many.
What do we need then? The people's group set.
105, mate. It
Already exists. Already exists. Well,
Already
Microshift.
exists. Yeah.
Let's get on to Microshift.
Microshift on your winter bike.
You know what we need? We need high-end bikes with Microshift group sets on them. That's what we need. We need custom bikes. Microshift.
Right.
Just give it like they've already started get. You know what they called their group set? Sword.
Sword.
Yeah.
Like that.
It's like Swerks, but with a D. S word.
S word.
That's what Jenny calls it. S word.
S word.
Is it? No, it's quite good. It's quite a nice design. It's quite a good name.
Yeah.
It's only the brand name Microshift, which has like quite negative connotations or cheap connotations. But I'd love to get my hands on it. I want to try it out. I want to see what like.
On Decathlon coming back with the Van Rysel brand and
AG2R are riding Van Rysel next year.
Yeah.
It's a done deal.
Back in the peloton.
Yeah.
Bringing the people's bikes back.
Probably be better than those BMCs.
We'll see.
More adjustable.
Anyway, so what's the moral of the story?
Buy 7800 and put 105 on your winter bike.
Yeah, just stop going after the top end stuff. It's not for you. It's not for you. It's for professional racers. They want to sell you stuff.
Yeah.
They just want to sell you stuff. You buy the lower tier stuff because that technology already, they use the technology in the high stuff.
Well, Ultegra is like, is specifically designed as the privateers group set.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I mean it's a perfect.
But that's too expensive though as well.
Yeah, but what you do is you always buy the previous generation, right? What you do is.
But then you have to get your cranks recalled because they'll delaminate.
Yeah. Well, no, Ultegra is
power.
supposed to be like the racers group set.
Yeah.
The privateer racers group set. So you use that group.
Use that for racing,
and then
or use it for
105 is, your
But now
everyday.
people are using that stuff for ultra distance.
Oh.
They're using race level group sets for ultra distance, and it's like, well, but maybe you should be using something a little bit more robust if you're going to be doing like serious distances in all weathers. Maybe there needs to be a new ultra distance.
This is what is like Axis on your ultra distance bike. Have a word.
Yeah, it's happened.
I mean, you just got to look at some of the Transconti setups. I mean, freaking some bloke came to see me with freaking a Canyon Ultimate.
Yeah.
He was going to go do
What?
Yeah, literally. He's like, oh yeah, I signed up to this Transconti thing. I've got this race bike here.
What happened? What I want to know is what happened to Audaxes, because there was supposed to be this stepping stone. All of a sudden, everything's about ultra. Is ultra distance really just a rebadged Audaxes?
It's just remarketing,
right?
It's like gravel. Yeah,
it's like
everything
gravel.
gets remarketed. God, what a bunch of cynics! I wonder if anyone's got this far in this episode.
I doubt it.
If you have,
you probably
well done.
yeah. If you have, well done. You're on the same page as us. We should have like a special code at the end that we give people for discounts and stuff.
Do you own a blue Ribble or a Kinesis?
Enough about butts. On that note, if you like what we say, leave us a rating on your favourite podcast channel.
If you don't like what we say, leave us a rating.
If you don't like what we say, we have an Instagram.
Yeah.
It's at Soft Issues Pod. Get in there and troll us to the best of your abilities. Yeah. Bring it on.
Give Ev something to do on a weekend.
Yeah, exactly. I like that.